Godfather, aka Joe J. Bolger, and tonight we are going to be doing our first live broadcast of a siege in Gorgoroth. Now, an online siege. Now, what online conquest is, for those of you who are not privy to the concept, it's basically, if anybody has played Mount & Blade Warband or any of the Mount & Blade games, and you're finally closing in on that last castle or capital city, that's basically what this is, but in a Lord of the Rings mindset. So what we're going to do is we are going to go do a couple sieges in Gorgoroth, and we'll see how we do. Now, we're gonna see who we got on the list here. Now, as you can tell, we are a rank 367, and we have Leo GT 215K, who is a 356. Now, I'm gonna teach you guys how to spot, different siege upgrades. Now, let's check this guy's siege upgrades out. He's got metal walls, which is the max walls that you can get. First mistake, he's got a savage host. Now, savage hosts are your shock troops. They're guys that are built for counterattacks, not attacking and, attacking on a broad front or in an enclosed space. Now, he's got poisonous siege beasts, which are based for animals and beasts and monsters, and they're not. And sometimes infantry runs into them. It doesn't really matter. He's got a Gorgoroth, which only comes with one. He's got one shot with that. He's got fire archers, which are basically your fire-tipped crossbowmen. And we'll go from there. But what we're going to do is we're going to get everything rolling here with a very quick, shall I say, a very quick siege with this guy. So, here we go. So what we've got is sappers, defenders, first siege beasts, Shaleb's brood, as well as fire archers. So we have that similarity, and we have the overpower ability. Now, overpower is really your main, I wouldn't say run-of-the-mill tactic, but your main strategy from when you're pushing in different sorts of infantry, whether it be defenders, archers, heavy infantry, light infantry, hell, even Caragor cavalry. So, here we go. This is going to be our first siege of the evening, and we'll go from there. Alright, so we're waiting for it to load in, and we're gonna I'm going to teach you guys how to disable a rival player's fort from point A to B. Now, Leo GT's fort is not that very sophisticated. So we have Cursed Siege Beast. He has the Poison Siege Beast. So what we're gonna do is, right now, when you have your infantry storm in front, the enemy archers and stuff like that will be in a sort of kill box to the point where you will not know from point A to B what you're gonna do. You don't know. You're like, okay, I'm good. I'm good. I'm not doing too hot. What's going on here? So what we're gonna do is we're gonna get this artillery out of the way. If the siege beast won't move. Now, Urkamar Pureblood is... Most of these guys are... Because like I said, most of these siege beasts are not going to be the type for you to just screw around with and be like, oh, okay, I can just, you know, deal with it and that's it. So... Now, what we're going to do here is we're going to take out another siege beast. Now, if you see the boxes that are... And Taurus Tinder just killed a level 50. That's a bit of a shock. Now, we're going to take out this last... Siege Beast, and now our troops have already secured the capture point, so we're gonna move on from there. So now he pushes up. Now there's no captains that we want right now or currently. So, what we're going to do is we're going to hop on up, kind of spectate a little bit. Well, we do want this level 48, I mean, but I don't want to fill up the garrison too much. That's one thing that you don't want to do. You do not want to fill the garrison up too much. You do not want to fill the garrison up too much because that's when you start running into problems. So now we're gonna capture this captain, Snapper the Executioner. He looks very similar to Hogleaf, which is my bodyguard in Lithlabs, which is a DLC region, which we'll be covering on One Conquest that next, but this time we're going to cover them live. So now we're going to move in, and Taurus, I just hopefully you don't say that ever again. Alright. So now we're going to see what we do here. So now there's another group of war chiefs and captains in the area. So my guys are pretty much mop them up and we'll capture them. Now most of these guys are gonna want to retreat. Sukuga the Gab. He is undead. Now, this is the first time I've actually assaulted a fort that has undead captains in its ranks. So this is the first. I mean, I'm not gonna lie, this is the first. So, Nazu the Duelist is dead because of Crook Itchy. Now Crook Itchy, he's starting to remind me of another captain that Tierra Grace used to use, named Crook Bloodaxe, because of how brutal he was. Now we have to deal with. Now we got to deal with the artillery. So the artillery's up here. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna take a long shot and break the first bit of artillery. Now this is what I've always told people to do. Never be that type of person that says, oh, no one will break my lines. That always cannot be the case, because your troops, because I've got so now we're going to recruit this captain, Pug the Greedy. Now Pug the Greedy falls back.
As you say, my lord, I'm hit bad
Shit. Now Taka the Bloated is undead, so I'm trying to help you. And now Muzu Foulspawn is now killed. So now we have the issue of getting these capture points that are inside the fortress. Now, getting capture points inside is always the worst part, because you do not know how many reinforcements this guy has. So there we go. So inner gates captured. And now Two Horn who devours is now dead. So my guys will be busy celebrating, but like I said in a previous video, something that I would like to see Monolith and Warner Brothers do to kind of keep to the whole Mountain Blade Warband vibe that they're going with this is, even though you've got the archers and the crossbowmen in those fighting positions on the towers, both internal and external, what you want to do is you want to make sure that these guys have a good amount of not only resistance, but you give your captains something to do. You give them something to look forward to. Now we've got less than 20 seconds for gold, which you're not going to get on this one because of the extended defense, which is perfectly fine, but you should always try for gold.
Tark has managed to make it to my throne.
Who booked the champion?
It's a fight you're looking for. It's a fight.
We're definitely capturing you.
Just remember, you wanted this.
Funny, I was going to say the same thing to you.
Now, he's a character rider, which means he's a cavalryman, and he's a berserker slash savage, which Not good. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna spawn in a couple of things here. The bodyguard as well as a grog. Now the reason why it's good to spawn both of these in is so it gives you support in the event that the other player has given his overlord bodyguards. So it's basically a meat shield. Well, I don't want to say meat shield, but it's a bit of support for you to definitely take care of those enemies.
I'll lend ya. This'll be good.
So we activate. The guys will start shooting. Now Koth is not gonna die, not on Marvel. Oh boy, it's Bruce. He's made one of his bodyguards Bruce.
Cross his face.
Bruce, I don't want to hear you say that for the 100th. Oh, he's Bruce.
I hate printers.
Time for us to. I have no idea why we lagged there.
Explode for me. You're mine. Show me who's worthy.
Full of Deathborn.
Smash his bones.
And now a Savage gets me. Not gonna be lucky. Now, Bruce, can you stop? Well, now this is the first time I've seen a lot of infantry. I mean, not infantry, but a lot of undead captains. Now the undead captain concept, my opinion on it is it's a good concept to have. I think Bruce is airproof. This person is not, so what we're gonna do is we're gonna wait for the grog meter to get low enough, and then we're gonna spawn it in. That way the captains have something to keep them occupied while the bodyguard Well, the bodyguard is a really good alternative. So what we're gonna do is we are going to wipe out one of these archers. Activate him and activate the two of them. Now we're gonna jump on down, spawn in the grog. The grog.
Traitors! You can have the food! You've no idea of my skills, Ranger! You can have the food! Oh, are you not wet?
Now what we're gonna do is we're gonna now the bodyguard meter is almost lowered, so what we're gonna do is we're going to take the Savage, activate Savage. Now we are going to wait for the bodyguard to come back. Now what we're going to do is we are going to wait for the bodyguard meter to go down and just play keep away with the three captains. Yes, Bruce, I remember hearing that from you. Now Bulldog, I don't know if he... I don't know if he's alive or dead.
This mob is nothing! Ready for this? Oh, this'll be good!
And this is gonna be a no chance. So Leo GT 215K's Fortress. My critiques: great offense, great defense for outer, but inner defense, your captains kind of got boxed in a little bit. So my suggestion and my advice would be, for your main infantry captains that are going to be inside as sort of your officers doing the counter charge, I would definitely suggest hire ranking captains. Now, when you do another attack, like an online conquest, what you want to do is you really want to make sure that you have not only great offense for breaching the fortress defenses, but also breaching your the enemy's offensive capabilities as well. So right now we are a 342. Ouch. So we're gonna go with Manuel 674 and his machine bastion. So okay, here are my critiques. Now, this is gonna be a total blowout. And the reason why I can tell that is he's got a level 65 Overlord, he's got 2 War Chiefs that are alive, not dead. And then he's got Norrook the Wicked. Now he's got a poison guy, that's one thing that works. Now his defense, he's got standard defenders, poison spouts, and reinforced stone walls. Now, walls are going to be easily breachable. But what we're going to do is we're going to switch to poison siege beasts, and we're going to push on in. Now, the reason why I made the switch to poison siege beasts is because with stone forts, with forts made of stone or reinforced stone walls, you're not going to have any artillery firing back at you, doing basically crowd control. So what you want to do is you want to push the infantry forward. You want to push your infantry forward, but you do not want to have the enemy troops, i.e. whoever his captains may be in reserve, pushing back at you when you attack the second part of the fort. Now, imagine it like this, to give a good piece of historical context. You're in an Egyptian pharaoh's tomb. Where do you want to go? Do you want to go for the exit? Do you want to go for the antechamber? Or do you want to go for where he's actually buried? You want to go to where the pharaoh's actually buried, so there'll be a lot of defenses kind of not having that happen. So now he's got no artillery, so he's just got the crossbowmen in the little fighting positions on the tower, which are not knocking down any infantry, so we're good there. Now basically your main goal is to keep every enemy captain out of where your captains are trying to go. So, i.e., let's say, let's say you want to push your troops forward and there's a Drake that's caged. That's going to hold your army back for quite a bit until you can break that defense. Now, breaking those defenses is key. Now, this level 67 is not undead, so he's got that going for him. He's got that going for him, so what you want to do is you definitely You definitely want to push these types of captains, these guys, these light infantrymen away.
If we don't kill the lot of you, the Overlord will.
Well, this guy's got poisoned Oryx, which is a good point. Good point to make. Now I have enough captains, so we're just gonna take out this. We're gonna take out Princess Scholar here. So he's enraged. And now, basically when you have the fire spouts or poison spouts, these spouts are, as I've seen in my recent, as you guys have seen probably in my most recent vids, they're more preventative measures for another player capturing your captains. And it's like, okay, you know, you want to capture my captains retreat. The poisoner fire activates. You'll just be able to get the gear off of them. You won't be able to get the captain themselves. So we've captured one, and we're just gonna put the light infantrymen down here. Now he's got me poisoned and cursed. Now, and what we're gonna do now is we're gonna have my captains basically fight this guy and kill him. As you can tell, this guy is not gonna go down without a fight. He's not willing to be a casualty. So Skok Bowmaster kills Crimp the Scholar. He's done. So now what you want to do is you want to make sure that the enemy troops that have already surrendered, probably, I say probably because, again, you do not know what the enemy player's defense setup is. Does he have a lot of counter-attacking captains? Which isn't the type of, oh, we're waiting for you to come out sort of army so we can kill you type of thing. It's a good sort of, you know, skirmish force feature that they've put in, but I would like a sort of, okay, you want to attack us mid-route? Okay.
Is both duty and pleasure.
It's too bad both will go unfulfilled.
I'll do the torch. He's a Caragor guy, so Caragor cavalryman. And he's a defender. He's a Caragor defender. Reason why I call him that is because he has Caragor and he's a defender, so we're gonna spawn now. I'm not gonna be able to have my own troops now. This guy is a level 65. He's Now, what you want to do for defenders, like this big fella, is you definitely want to get the crossbowmen that are supporting him on your side, i.e. taking these guys and dominating them. Because once they're dominated, nothing's going to happen to them. So, nothing will happen. And when nothing happens...
Didn't block that one.
We've kind of barely scratched the surface for him here, so what we're gonna do is we're gonna mount the grog, which we never usually do. Before you go off on your next what you're gonna want to do is you're definitely gonna want to now we look. Lock his legs in. Now these defenders are basically heavy infantry. If you can't tell from the shield and the spears. So what you're gonna do is
You've taken me to the brink. Now it's my turn.
what we're gonna try to hold our own. We definitely need arrows, so
Take some time. Free to the last, eh?
now what I don't like about these firing machine tanks is they refuse to go down no matter what the cost.
I salute you.
And now it's gonna be a no chance. Alright, Mono, you should have a better defense, but it was an alright defense. I mean, it wasn't that bad, but I would highly suggest a better defense rather than, you know, focusing on a counterattack. Now we're gonna do one last one, and we're gonna call it a night. In regards to Shadow of War. Up next will be Elite Dangerous. If we got any content to do there, I'll be going live on there for a couple of minutes, and we'll go from there. So we will go to Army. Now Koth, I didn't know that Koth died. Koth had been killed, so rest in peace, Koth. Noruk the Wicked. He's a level 67. So, deploy him. Make him my bodyguard. And we'll go from there. We have 13 captains to deploy. So, your main goal for right now is if one of your bodyguards is dead, you always want to have a secondary bodyguard on hand. Like I did right there. So,
the darkness must be contained.
So now we're going to do one final siege. We're level 317 right now. Lieutenant Chewie, he's a level 322. Alright, I can already see there's massive holes in the defense. And the reason why I say that to Lieutenant Chewie 00 is because look, I mean, dude, if I switch to Cursed Siege Beast, which I'm going to in a minute, he's got Fiery Siege Beasts, because he's got counterattacking artillery, which is good. He's got Drakes, which will hold my army for about maybe 15 minutes. And then he's got the Fire Spouts. Now, Fire Spouts will kill any capturable captains on his side. So, if my guys weaken a couple of his captains, and I go for the capture, and they're trying to climb up to run, Fire Spouts will activate, burn them alive, they're dead. Okay, so Lieutenant Chewie's got his 2 siege beasts up front, but the question is, does he have siege beasts out back as well? Because on defense, fire siege beasts are okay, but this guy probably just got his second fort. You know, probably doesn't have a lot in the Marines department. I think that's what the Meridians, I think they're called, in regards to the currency department, which you can gain by destroying equipment that's a duplicate. So if I take out his siege beasts, his frontline siege beasts, my artillery will be able to shell his fort with impunity versus not being able to. So my initial forces, which have included my assault eaters that are captains, are going to be going off after these guys. So we've captured the gatehouse, and now my guys are going to charge forward.
Obey me.
Well,
You serve me now.
bruise the chopper. Okay, retreat.
Weapons out.
Apparently he's an undead guy, so he'll be my first undead captain. So now what I'm gonna do is we're gonna capture the B point, and then the level 55 is gonna fall back to wherever this person spawned his missions. Now it's level 42 will take, you know, just because as a prize of war. Cosmoner. He's a new captain, so we'll take him. Uh-oh.
Hold this ground.
And Taurus is going nuts with the boom booms. Okay. Taurus is going nuts. Alright, so this guy's got some guys that are undead. Not much, but not many. A good mixed defense. So Lieutenant Shui, my compliments on that. But I would suggest changing the artillery, because your artillery is just standard artillery. It's not gonna do nothing. It's just gonna burn. It's just gonna burn your troops, and that's it. It's not gonna stop, you know, the enemy siege beast or nothing like that, or discourage the enemy infantry. You're not helping yourself in that regard. So now, okay, now we've reached the heart of his defense, which is the Drake. Now, the Drake, we're gonna jump up here. We're gonna disable his artillery here, just so we got a chance to. This fire-based defense hasn't stopped me and my army so far, but I could be wrong in the next couple of minutes. Luga the Humiliator just did another enemy captain in. So what you're going to do is you're going to want to
Where is he?
So our standard troops that are on fire, It's not that we don't care about them, it's just for right now, we're gonna want to release the Drakes, so the rest of our troops can break through. So what this guy is gonna do now, Drakes are not very, I mean, they are very good defenders, don't get me wrong, but they're great air support. So what I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna fly the Drake around for maybe a couple of seconds, and then I'm gonna hop off. Because I know that the enemy troops are going to be petrified. That the war chief, well, not at the war chiefs are dead. The enemy. The enemy is petrified that that they've been captured. Most of the troops have been captured, and other forces have been routed. So basically, when you're pushing up through the city, the outer fortress, you push through easy. Now, from the field down. Now, when you go into the inner fortress and then you push through the city itself to the heart of it, which is the Overlord's, throne room here, you're definitely gonna want to bring a bodyguard with you. You're gonna want to bring. You're gonna want to bring a bodyguard and a grog.
Putting together fort defenses, getting my boys trained up. It's stressful being Overlord.
Don't fret. After today, your worries will be over.
And he's a Karagor cavalryman. And he's a swordsman. This is something that I anticipated. What we're gonna do is we're gonna walk up a little bit, spawn the troops in. Now this guy has cursed. Now, if we move on up, which we're gonna do in a sec, this guy, Lieutenant Chewie here, I will admit, he's got good. He's able to cover his troops quite well. But I think you focus too much on the okay, let me attack this critique. But you focus on too much of the let me go for the curse sort of, style versus, going at, putting your meridians into defenses worthwhile. So that's one of my critiques there for Lieutenant Chewie. Is he definitely has a lot of defense spending to do. I mean a lot of it. Now what we're gonna do is we're gonna so No Rook the Wicked is gonna kill most of these guys. Now again, I think Lieutenant should we thought, you know, let me think about how good this will look versus, you know, the fact of the matter being, oh well, let me put some defense spending. That's one of my critiques for his fort, is he does not, you know, now we're gonna be able to thin out the defense, but and what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna run up the top. Okay. And No Rook the Wicked is paying his dividends as bodyguard, so. Now we're gonna capture this guy. And open the knife. I mean, here is my critique of Lieutenant Shu's fortress. It was an offensive blowout. What I mean by blowout is his defenses were so lowered. His artillery would keep some of my troops back, but not all of them. So, as you can see there, it's a massive offensive victory for us. Now, I don't know if the game is gonna be able or willing to let me have 2 copies of Bruise, one alive, one dead. So we'll have to see. Now that was our last siege for the evening. GG, Lieutenant Chewie. Like I said, better the defenses next time, bud. use more poison defenses, have more troops and captains ready for a counterattack when your enemy players pushing up through the town. So that way you can box them in rather than your guys getting boxed in and demolished. So gotta up the captains there, pal. So, guys, for those of you who watched this live broadcast, thank you very much. And this is Retired Godfather, aka Joe J. Bolger. And I hope that you enjoyed our content tonight. Thank you very much and have a good evening. Please like, comment, and subscribe.